We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. We have been loathed with friends. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
You're listening to Toward Anarchy on the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here's your host, Michael Storm.
It's Saturday night. It's prime time. We're all around the world, right here on the Republic Broadcasting Network, and you can find me at Toward Anarchy on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and wherever you find me at, wherever you find the show at, wherever you see me post in, wherever you see one of the episodes, listen to one of the episodes, please just take a moment to click that like button. Just bam. You don't have to smash it. You don't have to make love to it. You don't have to do it. Just click. Tap, just real simple. It's the biggest, best thing you can do to support the show. I've never asked you for much more than that. Just click that like button. Click that like button. And, occasionally give it a share, too. That'd be all right. You can follow along at towardanarchy.com, as always, and it's going to be a fantastic show today. I'm excited for the show today. There's so much going on. It's a new year. I don't even know where to begin. That's what's crazy about it. I'll begin by saying Happy New Year. How's that? Happy New Year. Get that out there up front. Hope that you are feeling it. Hopefully it's good for you so far. You got the good vibes going into the new year. I hope that given all the madness and insanity that's going on in the world that you haven't sacrificed your own sanity to it, because it's really easy to do. I mean, we're not even 5 days into the year yet, and it's craziness everywhere. And we'll pick a point and we'll start in there in just a moment. First I want to ask you to do me a favor and support the network, Republic Broadcasting Network. My friends, my family at the network, been doing this for so long, and all because of you. It's just your support. It's what you can donate to the network that makes the difference. RepublicBroadcasting.org. Over on the left-hand side, click that donate button. Otherwise, give us a call, 800-724-2719. Extension 3 is probably the best place to try to hit somebody up. Or you can donate by mail. You can send a check or a money order. Just make it payable to RBN. You can send it to 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. Support the network. We can't do it without you. It's amazing that you've kept us here all of these years. And as the new year has begun, please keep us in mind as the new year goes forward, and realize that as much as we love to do this for free, we can't. It can't be done. They still have to pay the bills. They have to pay for the internet, and they have to pay for the computers. And it'd be okay occasionally if one of the board guys was able to eat. If just throwing them raw meat into the cage there, into the glass cage, it's just not the best thing for them. They probably need to have a full balanced diet and meal on a daily basis. Of course, I'm just kidding. RepublicBroadcasting.org to support the network, please. It's not an entirely selfish reason that I ask you to do it. Yes, I'm here, but I'm a small part of the network. I'm a couple hours every week. I'm a fantastic part of the network. One of the highlights, frankly. And hey, but that's me. That's not a statement about anybody else. That's a statement about me. The network itself is amazing. There's amazing voices all across the network all day long, not just my couple hours on the Saturday night here in the prime time, getting to do the party and have a little bit of fun and just chat and be completely unserious about everything. everything. You know, there's a million things to talk about, and we're going to touch on none of them in today's show. That's how much there is to talk about and how important they may be to you or to somebody else. I'm just picking a few, and we're going to run with them. Follow along at towardanarchy.com, as I was mentioning, and that's just a great space to start with, because we can always get back there. And one thing that I wanted to do today, I'll probably have to do it this way, because I'm playing around with the screen. Don't mind me if you're not watching the screen at the moment. There'll be a couple of screen things in here for you, but I'll explain them as I go along. I haven't looked at the news today at all today, and I thought we might just do this real quick just to start off the show, because it is such insanity. Everything is so crazy right now, and we're a few days into the year, and we've already had these mass shootings, mass shooting in New York. We've had this driver in New Orleans. We've had the explosion of the Tesla truck in Vegas, and it looks like all of these things are just driving the news cycle, and some of these things are terrorist events specifically, and there's more information that's coming out, and things are changing almost by the minute, maybe a little bit slower now that we're a few days beyond it, but it's all just crazy and just impossible to keep up with. And since I hadn't looked today, I thought I'd just take a look with you and see if there'd be anything fun or interesting that we can pull out of just the quick headlines and get an impression of what it is that's driving everybody right now. Everybody's got kind of a bad attitude. I don't know. It's a whole. I've noticed it a bit since the entire election. It's just sort of a whole bad attitude thing, and I think it's just a general consensus by most people that nothing is getting better. I think even the people who wanted sort of a Trump presidency are realizing they get it pretty quickly, especially when something doesn't quite go their way and he doesn't say the things exactly the way he wants him to that they want him to say them. People start to realize that it's not significantly different, that if we've elected this gentleman again to represent us in office, that we're certainly not moving forward. We're still moving backward, or we're still hanging backward in some other space and time, in some other place. We're definitely not progressing. Nothing is getting better, but it's worse. The vitriol is worse. It's as bad as it's ever been. And of course, we had the United Healthcare CEO assassinated in New York, and all the worship that has come for this Luigi Mangione fellow. And I keep seeing this sentiment, and it's kind of a funny one. I find it amusing. Others may not find it amusing, but I have that dark sense of humor. I warned you about the Joker movie. Oh, I had to mention Joker too. We're going to do some geek things here in just a minute, and I'll talk about Joker too. But I told you about the first Joker movie and how I found myself very much laughing at things that were rather inappropriate and that normal people shouldn't laugh at. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what normal is. It doesn't mean anything to me. But I just keep hearing this same sentiment, and it's this sort of sentiment of take note, 1%, look out, 1%, watch out, And it's funny to me because they did, and they're not scared. This one shooting of this guy in New York is going to change absolutely nothing. That's why you don't do it. That's why you don't assassinate presidents. That's why you don't do force to replace things, or to change things the way you want them to be, because then they're not accepted. It's not natural. There's always going to be some sort of pushback when you use force, and it's in there somewhere. And when you're talking about the people that own all the tanks and all the bombs and all the businesses and everything all around the world, do you really think they're scared of you? Do you really think they're scared of you? Especially when we out here can't get together and it is just one lone person. That's what seems to be this truck guy. The truck. I mean, that thing was so crazy because I posted on it not long after it had happened, and I just remembered seeing the picture. It was this one picture that popped up, and if you watch the Rumble version of the show, you'll be able to see it. Otherwise, I try to describe it to you. It's just out. It's the Trump Plaza. It's under that little canopy. It's the truck. It's on fire. So it's really, really early on Nobody's around. Nobody's come to put it out. In fact, everybody's scattered. The place looks empty because it's just happened, and there's all this, I assume, confusion and just mass hysteria for what it was. People trying to figure out what's going on. And I said this meme writes itself because you're talking about a Tesla right here out in front of Trump's hotel there. And when I pulled up the news here, again, this is, if you watch the Rumble version, you'll be able to see all this. But when I pulled up the news, I said we'd take a look at the headlines here real quick. The first thing that's up here is a picture of Musk. It's one you're probably familiar with. It's the one where Elon's putting on the sunglasses or taking off the sunglasses. I don't know. I've seen it around a lot. The picture has been used a lot. But then there's Trump, sort of just over behind his shoulder. And so it just, to me, that whole, the Tesla truck thing outside Trump Tower, obviously it's a political statement. And so immediately I'm thinking, oh, this meme, it sort of writes itself almost a little too well, right? Like it's very much planned that way. And then it wasn't long after that they came out and they said something about there being fireworks and other sort of improvised explosives or gas cans or something in the truck itself. A kerosene can, maybe, I think I saw. I've seen a couple of different pictures that are presumably of the back of the truck. I'm not there. I can't prove it or not. But it did look like just sort of. It didn't. It looks weird. It's a very half-assed attempt at trying to make an explosion, make a dangerous, deadly explosion, especially when you're talking about doing it from inside a Tesla truck. The things are kind of like bulletproof, and they're pretty stable, I guess, and pretty solid is the whole point. I've seen them, but I've never seen one up close. I've never put my hands on one, so I really don't know what one is like. But from what people say and from the impression what they talk about them, they seem like they're not going to just sort of blast apart like your average vehicle was. And I guess there's sort of proof of that in in that picture that's there. The truck is aside from the windows and some burns, the truck is in pretty great condition. But let's take a look. Let's do this. Let's take a look and just see. So there's Musk again. These are the headlines. The Washington Examiner, Elon Musk calls on King Charles III to overthrow the UK government. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know what that's about. See, this is why I'm doing this, because I haven't looked at the news today. I've been busy this morning doing a bunch of other stuff and trying to get together. I've been doing some fun stuff, and we'll get into that here in a minute, too. The U.S. Surgeon General urges cancer warnings for alcoholic drinks. That's something I've seen. That was something I saw right away this morning. Even though I didn't go looking for any news or anything, I did scroll on the social media a little bit. And I did see some reference to that already, so that's a thing they're talking about. Even just the minor, I think it was probably Vice that I saw was the headline across social media, and it was that even one drink, whatever, it can increase your chances of cancer. Interesting. I don't know. I'll have to follow up on that one because I don't know what the sales point is. Ooh, Dutch Brothers. I had a Dutch Brothers coupon for, one of the cards, get a bunch of, coffee, and that's mostly what they have at Dutch Brothers. We haven't had one here in Topeka for very long, but it's really good. It's really good coffee. And I'm not one that goes for the super sweet stuff either. I'd like a good coffee. I like to be able to taste my coffee and my drink regardless of how I make it. I do flavor it, but I want to taste the coffee too. And I have to say, man, compared to I'm not dogging on any of these guys. They all have their wonderful, their coffees. They're all fine, whatever. They're all good at the time, and some of them are not good at other times. And it depends on what crew is running the place. But there's a 7 Brew that's right down the street from the Dutch Brothers, and of course there's the Starbucks guys. And then I'm prone to swinging through the McDonald's drive-through and grabbing one of their iced coffees or something, and Dutch Brothers has just been one of the ones that has it's just good, and they're going to build another one here. Apparently, people people like it a lot. That's kind of cool. Business groups sue over California's new ban on captive audience meetings. Again, another thing that I just am not anything I know about. Let's take a look. Business groups sue over California's new ban on captive audience meetings. This is in the L.A. Times. 18 hours ago. I guess I wasn't looking at the news 18 hours ago either. California business groups have sued to stop the state from implementing a new law that prohibits companies from ordering workers to attend meetings on unionization or other matters. Okay. All right. Fair enough. That explains that. Doesn't need any more explanation. I got you. Capra Foundation closing Monday. Here's why. I don't know what the Capra Foundation is. That's a local one. Alyssa Storm, she's local for KSNT. Local nonprofit is closing its doors next week due to anticipated severe winter weather. Oh, well, everybody's freaking out here about the weather. I got the old man upstairs, my wife's father. We're taking care of him and taking care of the home. And we're in the nice, wonderful, finished basement here. Ha ha! I'm a basement troll who broadcasts a podcast. But the old man pulled me up there yesterday, and he wanted me to go out and start the generator and make sure that the generator was powered up, because we're expecting sort of a cold snap, let's just say. It's supposed to get really cold here over the next few days, and I guess we're not the only ones. I'm not a farmer. Winter storm warning here. There's something over right here. It says. Let's see what it says. Winter storm warning. Oh boy, the whole place is red. Yeah, my location is confirmed. I told you to look in Topeka, Kansas. That's where I want you to look. I don't care if that's my location or not. Jesus, you stupid machines. Let's see. I keep pulling out here. Move over. There we go. That's an interesting little line of moderate to severe and extreme weather all the way up from sort of Washington and Canada down across through the Midwest and into Kansas, right straight across me, some of the worst of it, and then off to the east and towards all these wonderful places over here like Indiana and West Virginia. And okay, well, there you go. There's a weather update like you needed that. I'm just having a little bit of fun here because I haven't caught up on the news stories yet today, and I'm curious about the first impressions and the impressions that people are left with, and that's one of the reasons I like to do go through the headlines like I do. Not that I rarely do it here. But it's just fun to be able to do. These 10 comics are worth big bucks. That's funny. I looked at that. That one's been running up there for a couple of days, and I looked at that one, and it's exactly what you would expect it. It's first Spider-Man, first Superman, first Batman. Brazil eliminated daylight saving time. It's having second thoughts. What a dumb thing. That's what is the Native American Indian gentleman say about only a white man could come up with the idea of taking time off of one end of the clock and attaching it to the other end of the clock. But he used ropes as an example, cutting off an end of rope and attaching it to the other end of the rope and thinking. That whole daylight saving time thing has been a little funny to me, and should be to anybody in the modern era, because it's obviously an outdated thing that has to do with trying to catch daylight hours. Heartbroken mom's vaccine plea after flu death. Uh-oh. We're going to get these people claiming that their baby died because they didn't get them a vaccine. Mike Johnson clinches speakership in stunning first ballot. They were pretending like he wasn't going to get it. Let's see what they say here. This is the BBC. Joanna Morris, I don't know who she is. BBC Tees is her, whatever she does. It's BBC Tees. Mother urging parents to get children vaccinated after losing one of her twins to flu on Christmas Day. In December, Louis and Vinnie Hughes were placed and induced to comas, and they fought to survive the disease. Vinnie is on the road to recovery, but his brother could not be saved. Vaccinate your children. calling for flu jabs to be mandatory. I'm shocked about that. Never in my life did I think the cause of death listed on my baby's death certificate would be the flu. Here's the problem with this. This should be obvious right from the get-go. She has 2 children that supposedly had the flu. One of them died, one of them didn't. Neither of them were vaccinated. Let's see. It should be obvious. I shouldn't have to say any more than that. The twins from Stockton-on-Tees have gone from strength to strength since being born prematurely. Just 20. I'm done. I am so done. First of all, you don't give premature, unhealthy, at-risk children shots. That's why you don't do it. This mother's a moron, and these people are morons. I shouldn't even. Oh, my God. This stuff makes me so mad because it's so obvious and it's so dumb. It's just so dumb. There is so much stupid in the 2 sentences between 2 children, one lived, one died, and they were born premature. And that they happen to be getting better since having been born premature. I'm sorry, I don't have any sympathy for you because you're a liar and a manipulator, and you're going to use something like this, a personal tragedy, something I'm sure is completely terrible for you, and would be terrible to anybody else who had that happen to them, but it didn't happen to them. It happened to you, and you're going to use it as an excuse to turn it into a political push to have me forced to take something that I don't want into my body, that I don't need into my body because of your ignorance and your stupidity and the fact that you had premature children who are susceptible and could have fallen to any disease or thing that came along in that time period where they were building up their strength and weren't ready to be out of the womb yet and unprotected from their mother. I don't have any sympathy for you. This is why we do stuff like this and try to look at things like this, because you never know what you're going to get out of me in terms of this pisses me off. That's the kind of thing that's used the world over to turn thugs like this orange clown right here, Jesus Christ, he looks terrible, into an authoritarian thug that pushes vaccines on people, takes away the right of self-defense, and makes every little issue, every little thing that happens to any one little person that they can politicize and turn into a dollar or turn into a vote and turns it into a weapon against everybody else. That's what happens. I should be pissed about it, and you should be pissed about it too. Trump calls to open up the North Sea and get rid of windmills. The things that they spend their time talking about. This looks cool, though. Actual life-size Lego cars. I'm not going to click on it, though, because it's a video. It's like a utopia. Young people in China are escaping the rat race by fleeing youth retirement villages, mirroring quiet quitting in America. Are young adults being pushed too far? This is something that has popped up over here the last few days, just this sort of conversation about a quiet revolt in China. And this is what set China on the path closer to the path to free markets and capitalism and the things that we seem to value in the Western world. It's things like this that set them on that path to begin with. So it'll be interesting to watch as we continue to move forward through the year. Baby Blues by Rick Kirkman and Jerry Scott. Baby Blues. I remember reading that one. It was a cartoon in the newspapers. I got up and read the news. Boy, that was pretty boring, except for the whole vaccine thing. That was kind of boring. One more time. 9 hidden drinking patterns that worry health experts more than binge drinking. Okay. Republicans failed to elect Speaker on first vote. We're not ready to govern. Wait a minute. How is that? That's 1 hour ago at Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone is trash. Rolling Stone has got to be one of the single largest pieces of garbage in print today, whether it's in digital print or on paper or not. It's unbelievable, the lies and hatred and half-truths and partisan BS that Rolling Stone puts out there. And this is a minor example of it. As we're sitting here looking at these headlines, Mike Johnson clinches speakership in stunning first ballot, and this happened just minutes ago. I'll click the link here in a minute, and we'll find out the details on it. But Republicans failed to elect Speaker on first vote. We're not ready to govern. Obviously, there's something wrong there. 45 minutes ago, so it's 15 minutes after Rolling Stone posted their story, Speaker Mike Johnson was reelected to the top post in the House in a stunning floor vote on the opening day of Congress on Friday, securing the gavel on the first ballot. How is this? Oh, my God, Rolling Stone is trash. They're just trash. It's something that's so obviously disproven, and something that every other news organization in the world is going to make a note of. BlackRock, the company that controls the world's governments. I wanted to show you this video. This is another one that's been popping up in and out for the last couple of days. Unfortunately, it's an advertisement. It's another one of these video advertisements. This has become a thing now, where it's a informative documentary type piece, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and before they get into the meat of it, they set you up with the storyline before they get into the meat of it, and tell you exactly what they're getting at and why they believe, in this case, BlackRock is the company that controls the world's governments. But there's a question mark after it. So do they really believe that BlackRock controls the world's governments? They put this advertisement in there for, oh, you need protection from, and it may be completely valid. But I'm not here trying to promote, and I didn't feel like editing it out of there. And you can go find it yourself. You already know the controls that BlackRock has. I'm not talking to an ignorant audience. If you don't know, go look. BlackRock is one of the companies, one of the big companies that, it's an investment firm and more. It's one of the big three, I guess. There's State Street and what's the other one? BlackRock, State Street, and can't think of it off the top of my head. They're big. They own everything. They own all the corporations in the world. This is one of these things that you have to understand that breaks down by numbers. And so all the public corporations in the world are owned by people who own other public corporations in the world, and other corporations that own other corporations, and blah, 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 blah. And when you break it all down, ultimately all the corporations own each other, so they're all in bed together. That's what it comes down to. So their interests are all together. Best of Farside Comics. All right. Well, I had some fun. It was fun. Let's see. Johnson clinches 26 more grocery items that may be banned under. And this is just fear mongering. The government's going to ban. The government's going to ban stuff. RFK is going to ban stuff. He's going to have carte blanche to just make it so you can't have your favorite thing anymore. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter whether it's really harmful to you or not. Well, none of that matters. They're just going to take everything away from you, and you should believe it. Of course, you should believe it, because they do take everything away, so why not? Let's see. U.S. Surgeon General calls for cancer warnings on alcoholic beverages. So that's what it's all about. So now you get to it. What was the question? Just reading a few headlines, not even reading the story. Now you get it. It's the Surgeon General's call for it. He's the one that wants it. It's a political move. It's a move to control, to exercise controls over things that are out on the market, prices, products, the alcohol itself. Who can get the alcohol? It's just the same old story. Isn't it amazing how you can find that out in just reading a few headlines? If you're really paying attention, you watch what's going on. To piece all the headlines together if you don't read an actual story, and you'll get something. Biden to visit New Orleans Monday in wake of Bourbon Street attack. That thing's just insane. Horrifying accident has Hawaii officials pleading for the end to amateur fireworks shows. Again, another thing, because some idiot hurts themselves, hurts somebody else, burns down their house, something along those lines. The rest of us don't get to play. We don't get to have our fun. And you see, I'm in a state where it's legal, at least on the holiday, and you can get all the big ones. There's only a handful of them that are ridiculous. That we can't get bottle rockets here, but I can get a full-blown mortar. So I can launch a mortar through your front window and have it explode in your home, but I can't shoot a bottle rocket for fear it might, I don't know, blow up near somebody, maybe damage an ear. Going around shooting them at people anyway. People do, but that's what they use. They're dangerous, or they might catch something on fire because it might come back down. I stand under these big mortars and feel the pieces hit me as they come back down. I see the flames float off into the distance, little embers of paper float off into the distance. These things happen from all day. Here's another one. Go to Walmart. This is what happened to me last night. Go to Walmart and buy a pocket knife, and they will card you. You have to be 18 to buy a pocket knife. I'm holding in my hands right now a little 3-inch pocket knife, brand new. Just bought it last night. It was on sale for $3.50, and I have multiple pocket knives, and I always need another one. $3.50. It was nice. Ooh, got the little clip. It's got the little nub on the back of it so that you can quick flick it out there, and it's got the lock on it, and it has the adjustable points to where it's pinned together with the blades pinned inside between the handle and where things are screwed onto it and screwed together. They're adjustable. They're not just pins or something or stamps. They're adjustable screws. You can tighten the thing. I don't know. It was just a $3 knife. I picked it up. I got carded. I bought a kitchen knife the other day, 6 inches long. Just something out of a Friday the 13th movie. Nobody batted an eyeball. That's the world we live in. That's the silliness. I'm really excited because coming up at the top of the hour, Matthew Lesko is going to join us. And if you don't know who Matthew Lesko is, he's the original free money man himself. And not talking about Karl Marx. It's not a seance. We're not bringing Karl Marx back. No, it's Matthew Lesko. He's a guy from the TV. Remember, he always wore the suits that sort of look like the Riddler. Has the question marks on them. Sometimes they're green, sometimes they're yellow. I think he's probably had to change over the years and go away from green because it looked too much like the Riddler. He probably got a little warning from DC. Say, hey man, you're kind of encroaching on our territory there, and we'd rather not. I don't know. I didn't ask him about it. I should have. Maybe the next time I speak to him, he's going to join us. He's going to talk about what he's done over the last 50 years in terms of helping people get a piece of that stolen loot that the government takes from us every month, that they give back in different programs and to different other programs that they in turn give to people, and it's a little bit of a trickle down. And you know how all this works. We don't really go into, I do bring it up, I do give him the opportunity to address it, but that's not why I didn't bring him on the show to berate him about government stealing money from us and him finding a way to get some of that money back. I brought him on the show to talk to him because he's a larger-than-life character that people recognize, somebody that I recognize, and that regardless of the very nature of government theft and what we're talking about in terms of this so-called free money, he himself has been very successful, has been very philanthropic. He gives away money every month, helps people out, and has helped people out for years and years, just taking information and making it available to people. And that's one of the things that we do across the network. That's what it's at the core of what we do across the network. It's at this show. It's bringing valuable information to people in whatever form and with whatever political conversations go along with it. So our conversation is not about the evils of government. Our conversation is about Matthew Lesko and about how, ultimately you can get your hands on some of that free government loot. And that's fun, really fun. But I'm also really excited to do something that I said, and something that I should have been doing all along, at least for the last year or so. But I'm happy to do it now. It feels right now. I feel like I'm in the right place to be able to do it, and that's finally due. I do these Anarchist reacts. The Anarchist reacts to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Anarchist reacts to Project 2025. These sorts of things. I've done these things, but I haven't done anything like that with comic books. And it's such a no-brainer, obviously, with me owning the comic book shop, for me to do something like this. And my thought was, I could, and it's something that I've really recently started doing, and that's why I've decided that, maybe I'm in a position to be able to do this. And that's it, taking more time to look through more independent comic books. I won't be spending any time. It may come up. I still read Batman. I still read Wolverine occasionally, and some X-Men, sometimes Spider-Man. Really not much of that mainstream stuff at all. I read a few independent titles every month, and that's mostly it. And so I won't. Marvel and DC, they get plenty of attention all the time, right? People are paying attention to them all the time and talking about them and giving a little bit of a boost to, telling people what they think of it, and it's good, it's bad. People got opinions about Marvel stuff all the time. DC too. DC huge right now, exploding with the potential with the James Gunn taking over the DC universe there, the movie universe as it is anyway, and the new Superman movie coming along, and it reflecting source material directly from the comic books, as noted even by me, somebody who isn't a big Superman fan. So really looking forward to seeing what happens. But in the background already, there's a bunch of noise about how that's tragic. It's just, before I do this quick review of the book, just because we're talking about this is one of the questions out of 2024. What did we learn in the sort of geek arena about the superhero movies, because it was such a tumultuous year, just up and down and up and down. I was talking about Joker 2 earlier. Joker 2, this is what comes from trying to cater to certain audiences, and most of the audience not getting it, not understanding it. Joker 2 is a perfect example of that. Whereas it's sort of universally lambasted, even by that fat comic dude, that fat gay comic guy. Yeah, it's nice that's what I know. It's Tim something. I always get them confused with, there's Tim Pool and Tim Dillon. That's it, Tim Dillon. Sorry. If you have some other identifiers and I know them, I'll identify you by them. But it's that fat gay comic. He was apparently at a part. I don't remember seeing him. He had a part in Joker. I don't remember seeing him. I guess I'll have to watch it again. I wasn't watching for him. He said it was the worst movie ever, and which just proves to me that he's just another one of these talking heads, and that just happens to catch a little bit of attention because he's friends with Joe Rogan or something like that, or because he's gay. That always attracts some attention. You can always squeeze a little bit of extra attention out of there by flaunting your alternative lifestyle out there. It's a thing. Hey, it works for women too. Not just gay guys. It works for women too. Yes, that's right. I'm a woman. I'm important. I have no idea what she just said, but she's a woman. I can tell that, and she gets the likes for it. What did we learn from the superhero movies? Nothing as individuals, but I tell you, in terms of the industry and comic books and the superhero movies themselves, it was kind of interesting because I saw that question when they posed it. This is comicbook.com that I'm looking at, and the link is up there toward anarchy.com. And there's an image that they show with it, and they show this series of good and bad movies, depending on your opinion of them, that came out this last year. And the first one is Madam Web. I have to describe these for you guys that aren't looking at the Rumble version of the video. The first image, it's a split image. It's just one little square image. It's not ridiculous or anything, but it just shows an individual or two individuals in a sort of spliced together little compilation of different movie scenes and different actors and characters in these scenes. And Madam Web is the first one. And the question is, what do we learn about these? Well, if you go by these images here, and that's what I did, and I have an opinion about every single one of these. I've seen all but two of them. There's 5 of them, so I've seen more than half of them. I don't watch the other 2 for very simple reasons. I don't care. I'm not into their world, their Spider-Man stories. I'm not really into Spider-Man. I've barely seen the Spider-Man movies, let alone these other movies that are offshoots of them. And that even includes Venom. I've only seen the one Venom movie. I watched the first one partway through and got distracted, had to go do something, and never got back to it. And I never saw the second one, and I did recently watch the third one. So it's that Spider-Man universe. I just don't care for it. I don't care for the symbiote characters. I don't care for overpowered characters. I don't care for snarky characters that make lame jokes. So no, I don't really like Deadpool. I like the movies. That's different than me liking the character, though. I still don't like the Deadpool character. I like Ryan Reynolds. I like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I like the Deadpool movies. I like the Deadpool in the movies. I don't like Deadpool. I don't like Deadpool cartoons. Comic books never did. He's been around a lot longer than his movies have been around. I've been with him from the beginning. I was into X-Force and still and New Mutants, and that's where New Mutants and X-Force is where Deadpool and Cable and Shatterstar, people in it, all the people that have been in the Deadpool movies ultimately have come in out of X-Force and out of New Mutants, and I'm there with it from the beginning. I just never liked that character, and he was just Spider-Man. He was just a mutant Spider-Man. That's all he was. He was just a mutant version of Spider-Man that you couldn't kill. That was it. But so what did we learn real quick? Madam Web, I thought it was pretty simple. They showed that picture. They showed the Madam Web character. Some people like female leads, just not all of them. It's really not that hard. There was nobody asked for a Madam Web movie. Nobody wanted a Madam Web movie. Madam Web is a C character in the Spider-Man universe. She is important, but so far in the background that it's not even funny. And the other characters, the Spider-Girls and things like that in and around, nobody really cares about those. They make waves for short periods of time, and that tends to be about it. And they never really attract a solid female base to ever push them beyond the interest that usually comes with most comic book purchases, especially when you're talking about males 35 to 55. That's the largest group that participates in comic books still, always has been and still is. And that's, sexy characters, the, fine-looking women, scantily clad women, being killer badasses, right? That's the comic book I'm reviewing. Just happened to be that this week, but I'll explain. The next picture is the Venom picture. It's Tom Hardy and it's Venom, and the Venom 3 was good. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Again, I imagine I probably like Madam Web too, and I probably like Kraven. Kraven's one of the other ones that's in this image here, and Kraven is new. And it's Kraven the Hunter, and I've seen the first 8 minutes of it. Everybody did. They released the first 8 minutes on purpose to try and get people to be interested in the movie, and I thought that the 8 minutes made a great movie, setting aside the fact that it's Spider-Man universe is a Spider-Man character that I don't give a damn about. It looked like an interesting, kind of fun, gangster-type movie, wild animal gangster. The Kraven... Wolverine's my favorite character. Kraven is kind of a Wolverine-type character in a lot of ways. Very animalistic and very much a hunter and relies on his senses and his skills. And I'm sure I would like it, too. I liked the Venom movie, and I didn't even know if I would like that. I don't like much else out of that Spider universe, so why would I necessarily like that movie? But I did. I enjoyed it, and again, people were wrong about it, and the fact is that some people are just never happy. That's what we learned. But then Deadpool and Wolverine comes along, and sometimes it just works out. It's just perfect. It's perfect kismet. It's chemistry. It's everything. These are great superheroes in great superhero stories, certainly in their appearances on the screen and what they've been able to do with them. Some people just don't get it. That's the Joker thing, the Joker 2 thing. People clearly just didn't understand the movie. I understood the movie. I liked it. I'm not a big musical guy, but when a musical is good, then a musical is good. This one, the music wasn't really that great. Because neither of the singers are particularly great. Sorry, Lady Gaga. She can be great, but I don't know. There was one song that she sung in the movie that was better than others, but because they're sort of very emotional, raw, no music necessarily going along with them, they're tough. They're a little bit tough, especially when the singers are sort of borderline. They don't have their tips and their tricks and the best equipment for recording and post and whatever. The music was my least favorite part of it, but it wasn't so bad that it just distracted from the rest of the movie. It was just really good. And then I can't give away any spoilers, so I really won't talk about it anymore. It was good, and you won't get it if you're not a comic book person, if you're not a story person. You won't get it. You're just not going to get it. You won't get the music. You won't understand why it's important. You won't see it coming. You won't see, if you haven't already heard, the big surprise was no surprise to me. Absolutely no surprise to me. In fact, there was one point in the movie where there was it was just a pan shot. It was a split second, and I said, that guy right there. And, that guy. So let me do this. We got about 15 minutes left before I bring Matthew Lesko in here and we do that little bit of conversation there. And there's some other articles and everything up there at towardanarchy.com. Always, I provided them for you. One of the neat things this week was the 12 Laws of Karma. It's just a quick little definition list, I guess, from the Pleasant Mind. Just a list, an image of them. The great law, whatever we put into the universe will come back to us. The law of growth, when we change ourselves, our life changes too. That sort of thing. Those are all in there. The 12 Laws of Karma. Those are great for you to contemplate. For anyone to contemplate, I assure you. What pushes the masses into the camp of socialism is, I love this quote. I hadn't heard this quote before until just the other day. It's a von Mises quote, Ludwig von Mises. What pushes the masses into the camp of socialism is, even more than the illusion that socialism will make them richer, because I don't think anyone really believes that illusion, the expectation that it will curb all those who are better than they themselves are. And maybe that's not the best way to phrase that, especially if you're trying to win over some of those people. But I think it's apt. I think it's very much apt that they would rather, I can't get mine for whatever reason, not smart enough, not fast enough, whatever it is, didn't have the right opportunities in life, whatever the excuse, whatever the reason is, they just don't have it. Those other guys got too much of it. Well, just take some of it away from them. Just I'll be happy if they just can't have so much. I've never read Mises. Again, for anybody who's just tuning in for the first time or who hasn't heard me say it before, I am an anarchist by life experience and by understanding, a moral understanding, and an understanding of social and socioeconomic ideals and ideas. and I've come to the conclusion that anarchy is the only moral approach to my life. The rest of the world in the universe may not be ready for it. It's happy to live in the chaos and hope that somebody else will come along and save them, instead of the pure just sort of we're going to have to live with this sort of nature of anarchy and accepting reality for what it is. I have never studied the philosophy of anarchy. I've never read the anarchists. I know who some of them are. I've come across their names. I've come across their quotes. I read a paper, literally a few hundred words here and there of some of these people, like the Constitution of No Authority. That's one of the few documents I've read, and all of a sudden I can't even remember. Spooner, okay. I was going to say I don't even remember who said it. Real quick, not real quick. Super excited and long time coming, and glad to be able to do it. It's overdue. I'm excited to do this. My first official Anarchist reacts to a comic book, and I'm going to do this every week. I will do this every week. I will take about 5 minutes out every week, and I will talk about one or more comic books, and 99% of the time they're going to be independent comic books, and they will be. I will always go with relatively family-friendly stuff. I would say that most of this stuff is going to be teen-friendly or better that I look at, and I'm not going to give a score or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you the name of the book and the authors and the publishing company, and share that link with you. I did this week, in fact, share the link with you, and hopefully I'll be able to find one each week. Sometimes they are, especially with some of these independent guys, man. I am mad at Diamond. They damaged both of the independent books this week that I brought with me, both independent number ones. The last couple weeks, because of Christmas and because of New Year's, they're real slim. The books are real slim. There's not much that has come out over the last couple of weeks, and these were a few of the books that have come out during this time period, and they sent both of these two particular books damaged. I get these are the books that they're only going to sell a few of these books from these publishers to any given store at any time, and these are the ones that they should be taking care of. They're so much more important than the big publishers, and that's something that I'll have to talk about another time. We'll go into it another time, but the independent publishers are so much more important to support than Marvel and DC, because Marvel and DC may be the big names out there, but when you take the sales of something like Spawn and the other independent titles, and just the large majority of the fact that most books that come out on a given week are independent books, they're outnumbered there, and they don't get to decide the industry. They get to decide what's popular and what shines up front, but they don't get to decide what drives real comic book collectors and real comic book readers, in particular the readers, because we're looking for the story. We're not just looking for the investment potential of a book, which there's almost no investment potential in any of these books these days. Katabasis, number one from Blackbox Comics. That's the book that I read this week that I wanted to chat with you about, and the link is up there, towardanarchy.com, blackboxcomics.net, and just look for Katabasis. And if you're not up on your Greek, if you don't know your or at least your Romanized Greek, Katabasis, Katabasis, is it's a journey to the underworld. And so that once I saw the title, I was like, "Ooh, okay, all right." I recognize that that phrase, that terminology, even if it may be spelled differently. Some people spell it Katabasis, C-A-T-A. At any rate, I knew what it was and said, okay, well, maybe this would be interesting. We'll check this one out. And I did have an honorable mention, too, that I will mention at the end of this. But I read this. It's written by Damien Becton. I was not familiar with. Art by Rodrigo Roca, colors by Salvador Pomar, and lettering by Desi Santi. And the cover was by Roca as well. And this just came out on Christmas. Just here a week and 2 days ago. And the tag is, demons can't get into heaven, angels can't get into hell, but Juniper, once the deadliest mercenary on earth, can get with her new can get into heaven, or hell, with these new supernatural upgrades, and to earn entrance into heaven, Juniper is tasked with saving a soul trapped in the underworld, but first must prove herself worthy of the mission, and that's what she does in this first comic book. And they don't even mention it because they actually saddle her. No spoilers. They do saddle her with a young child, and so we don't know how that's going to go on. She can't get in heaven. She's stuck in purgatory. So the comic book starts out. She's this assassin or secret ops person or whatever for a government agency or something like that, and she's breaking into this facility, searching for a weapon of mass destruction, and ultimately the weapon goes off. And she wakes up and she's in purgatory, and we find her in purgatory. It's obviously sometime later because she's obviously already made a name for herself there, and she has this sort of demonic angel cross. Not quite in heaven. I don't know. He's a guy, obviously, if he's hanging around purgatory, he's got some special interest in managing souls and rifts and things like that, I suppose. And he tasks her with, when she wakes up there, she knows this guy, and she's obviously, when we see her, and she's obviously been there for some time, and she's made a name for herself as somebody who can slip into the underworld and rescue souls, bring souls that are out there. There's some sort of rift or something. Heaven and hell are, there's a leak, some kind of leak, and these creatures keep leaking into the various realms, I guess, including purgatory there. And they put her to a task to send her after Michael, maybe Michael the angel that I'm named after. Perhaps that Michael. He's been taken down to the underworld for some reason. I don't know. We'll get there, I suppose, at some point. I will continue to read the book. I really enjoyed, no spoilers. There's a great little spoiler at the end. I won't. I could give you the spoiler right at the ending, right in the last page of the book, but it's worth it because it brings up more questions. It draws more questions about, what exactly are we really experiencing here as she's trying to work out some kind of deal to get into heaven from purgatory. It's a good book. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to pick up the rest of the series, and I'll let you know as I read through it if it holds out to be as good. Because some of them, they break apart at about the third issue or so. We got just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to bring Matthew Lesko in here and have a great little chat with him. But I did want to mention that there was a honorable mention, if you will, in the comic books this week, and it was called Kids These Days, and it was billed as the Boys. If you don't know the Boys, this is going to go over your head, but it was billed as the sort of a teenage romp thing. Modern teenagers with too much superpower. What would they do? Not if they were an organized entity like the Boys, where they're a government-sanctioned superhero unit that gets away with a lot of shady crap. just to shorten up 5 seasons of The Boys and however many issues of it there were for you. These guys are young, not organized. They're kids. They're still doing selfies and trying to be popular on TikTok and things like that. And it makes for an interesting little read. That was a Keen Spot title. Kids These Days is what it was called, by Brett Murphy and Ethan Page. It was a #1 as well. That's it. I will continue to do those one a week. I'll just hit you. Nothing major. I mean, we'll keep doing the same things we always do, but I'm just so excited to be able to tell you about these independent works and about really truly how valuable a comic. That's what it'll be. I've been telling you that all along, the importance of it and the things that you can learn from it, the information that is contained with them, both culturally and politically and historically, all along. Now I will share those things with you. Stick around. We got Matthew Lesko. He's up here next on Toward Anarchy.
You're listening to Toward Anarchy. You're listening to Toward Anarchy on the Republic Broadcasting Network.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. The air is unfit to breathe. Our food is unfit to eat. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
All right, here we go into hour number 2. It's, of course, the better of the 2 hours. Go to towardanarchy.com. You know why it's the better of the 2 hours? There's a lot less me and a lot more guest. It's really just that simple. It's a simple formula. Go to towardanarchy.com to follow along, and you will see that my guest is the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend himself. It's funny because I've been talking about, the economy and everything. It's something that it seems to come up, and money is a big issue these days. And there's only one original free money man, and I'm not talking about bringing back the ghost of Karl Marx. I'm talking about Matthew Lesko. It's really neat to get a chance to talk to you, Matthew. I really appreciate the opportunity because it's interesting. You're kind of like a comic book character. You're a larger than life character, and you've just been at this for a long time, and it's just really neat to expand those horizons and talk to some different people with some different views of things. So I'm excited to get a chance to talk with you after we got all the technology stuff worked out.
We become slaves to it. We think it's going to
haven't we?
Everything. So, I remember roll-up windows, man. I worry about those automatic windows screwing up all the time.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I had a car that still had roll-up windows in it. So.
As soon as you get more technology, it's just that could go wrong, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And as soon as you start trying new things too, and there's all these different tools, and there's a million different ways to do it, and yeah, no, it's fun. It's part of the game, right? It's part of life, right? Navigating this whole little maze that we have here.
It's fun. Well, to be relevant in life, I mean, I think the worst thing is not to contribute. Yeah, and so if you're, we're here to help other people in a way, so we want to contribute and do something. Otherwise, you just throw vegetables at the TV or whatever and complain.
and nothing gets done. Nothing really truly gets done about it. Well, I always thought that was pretty neat about what you do because, I don't bring you on here to have a conversation about the economics or the social aspects of the sort of government and taxation and things, but you've been doing this a long time. So I'm sure you run up against people who have that question for you, who question the not what you're doing, but what you're not doing. You know what I'm getting at in terms of, the government shouldn't be taking our money in the first place, and that sort of thing. Surely you've answered that question before. Let's just get it out of the way.
Okay. But it's good. It's a good question. Why are we giving out this money? It's just crazy. And way we give it out. I mean, I don't do that much. I mean, I have my own opinions or whatever, but that's my job. I mean, it's a resource. I mean, why is there oil under the ground? The stuff is there. Now, you want to dig it out or not? It's up to you. You think it's wrong? Fine. You go deal with the politicians. If you need money to do something, I'll show you where it is.
I love that.
And it's there, right or wrong. And that's a problem. It's abused, of course. Most things are in this country. We have cars, and we're killing 30,000 people every year because we have cars. So there's bad with everything. And how are we going to deal with it? But now, I mean, I feel it's more important right now in our country than it was when I was starting, because the 90% of us now are been losing the piece of the pie for the last 50 years. I mean, our piece of the pie, the bottom 90% of us, is just getting smaller and smaller. And so that's why it's not inflation, it's people's incomes are going down. There's a chart I did recently from 1980. See, I was in business about that. And at that time, this is the red line on top is 90% of the bottom people. Okay, so the bottom 90% of us got 70% of all the income in the United States back in 1980. Okay, so fast forward 50 years, and that percentage of income in America is now down to about 55%. So our share of the pie, 90% of the people are losing a smaller share of the pie, and the top 10% are gaining a share of pie. Slowly, it's the old frog in the boiling water kind of thing, yeah? So people are hurting, and that's why I want to show people that have it. Or more importantly, I think even, is that the programs I think are very important are the ones that improve your life. I mean, money and help to start a business, to get a career, to get a skill that's worth a decent paying job. It's not sitting on your ass money, getting out of financial trouble, but it's also to grow. Because if you grow in America, then you're growing other people. But we're not doing a whole lot of that. We're not growing other people. This is the most disturbing graph I completed. This is the percentage of poverty in the United States. Now, this is compared to all the other developed countries. So not China or Africa or anything. There's about 30 developed countries. And we have the highest percentage of poverty than any other developed country, 30 countries. We have more people in poverty. I mean, and we have more millionaires than anybody else, too. Now, we all probably knew that.
1,000 of them?
Yeah, we have 24 million millionaires in the country, and that's we're number one. Number two is
billionaire. Okay, that was the other one. It was almost 1,000 billion.
I see, right? See, billionaires, millionaires, or whatever, and so that's why to me, the average person is. I mean, I grew up in the 50s, and immigrant grandparents came over to work in the coal mines, and so I think it's a cool country. I mean, a schmuck like me who barely got through college was able to do something. But the tools, and I see what bothers me, the rich people. I started learning this, helping rich people. So I had a software company. I got a master's in computer science after the war, and I got money to get a degree and in computers and taught computer science, had a company that failed. Then I became a consultant to Fortune 500 companies and to get information for them. And I was in Washington, and most people, they just wanted to know about companies to buy and who was profitable and where the opportunities were. And I would go around to the libraries at the time. We didn't have the internet to get information and produce information for them on this. And I just found, God, the government had everything. I mean, I would get Procter & Gamble was a client of mine. They want to start a chain of pasta stores. So I would go around Washington and I'd find like there's a pasta expert at the Department of Agriculture, who spends a life just, getting probably in today's dollars about $100,000 a year just to study pasta. That's all he does. Nobody knows he's there. And I'll find him after about 7 phone calls, make an appointment to see him. And the problem, he would give me studies that the government spent millions of dollars on and all this kind of stuff, show me what's going to happen when this happened, all the price of this and that, everything. So I take all these studies that the government spent millions of dollars on. I take their name off it, put my name on it, thank them. Thank the guy. Because nothing in the government is copyrighted. So I'd sell it for thousands and thousands of dollars to these people. And think, God, I knew nothing about Washington. I said, God, look, why doesn't everybody know about this? I grew up in a town called Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and we just knew the government was the post office and the DMV, and maybe the IRS, if we were paying taxes, and that was it. But all the resources and tools and how these rich people just use it, incredible. You look at now, Elon Musk, man, he made $170 billion after Trump was get elected, just for the fact because he's Trump's sidekick. He knows he's going to get a lot more money from the government. And actually, he made $170 billion. That's enough to pay for a house for there's like 650,000 homeless, supposedly. I don't know. And you could give each one of those a $250,000 house with the money he made in like 2 weeks. It's just crazy. But people hate the government, so they don't use it, and they're not going to do that. And that's fine. You don't have to use it. Nobody's going to put a gun to your head. But if you have a problem, it's a tool in your toolbox because you live here. And most developed countries have this. And this, I don't know if they're rich or smart or both, they use it to get ahead. And you don't have to. And I don't, but I sell the hell out of what they got. They provide stuff for me for free.
That's a nice little deal you stumbled on there. No, I think you're absolutely right. I think we need to. We're here. This is not happening in a vacuum.
Right.
If we're going to be here and we're going to participate and we're going to do these things, it seems to make sense that you should be utilizing all of the tools and for all the questions that come with the good and bad of government. You can take and do some good with it, right? Grab some of that loot and turn it into something positive.
Absolutely. Well, and again, good or bad, but we're all good or bad. See, the problem I see it, and I'm biased, don't forget, I've been answering these questions for 50 years. So.
Right.
And all the media, see, what's news is what's bad. And so we have 6,000 media running around town here trying to tell you how the government screwed up today, So everybody wants a more disastrous screw-up story.
Oh, yeah, the bigger story. Yeah.
If you don't pull the shades up on your window and somebody tells you it's raining like hell, every hour of the day, and you don't look outside, you believe it's raining, right?
Sure.
And it's a pity because also, but more important, there's so many people and you've run into them. You can't help but running into them in this country that really need the help. And as a human being, that's what we're supposed to do. We don't, well, you talk about, the people who are not using, there's a brand new program. Okay. Biden. Okay. So he's on the left side of the equation. And he put up a new program for people. There's a new program that just started last year. Gave out $8 billion for people to get lower utility bills. It's going to be here for 10 years. This is why we're in debt. This stuff goes. And the next guy comes in, he wants his program. So you got to and they go on top of each other and they keep going away. So this first year of this program, $684, you get up to $40,000 and it's there to lower your utility bills. Okay, who got the money? Because it goes through the IRS, so they got good data on all this. In the top 25% of income categories, that's people making up to $10 million, from about $100,000 to $10 million. They got 65% of this money, or $5 billion. The people making $30,000 or less got 0.001% of this money.
We're talking about ultimately because they don't know, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's my guess. They don't know. But, see, that's what I mean. We talk about these programs, and we're thinking that these people on the lower income are getting it and not using it. Mm-hmm. And it's the problem. The people don't need it are getting it. And like now, me, I got Social Security. I'm an old fart. I'm 81. And I said, I don't need this. Why are they giving me Social Security? This is crazy. And so the couple $1,000 a month. So I give most of it to a community college where a kid could go to school for $1,000, and tuition. Here, where I live in Washington, D.C., man, these fat cats pay $1,000 in lunch. And we're paying millionaires this kind of money. When people, again, I can't give it back to the government because who knows where it's going to go if I do that. So I'm putting the money where I think it should have gone, and not to me. So, I mean, there's inequity and everything. We all have to live with that. But it's helping people in need. You know that. I mean, we all know that. The nicest thing in the world is to give. The problem is finding a deserving bastard to give to.
Yeah, that's true. So how? Well, of course, obviously you're printing the books and you're bringing them to you, but and I watch you on TV all these years. That was kind of funny, I'm let's see, I'm 52. I'll be 52 next month, and so I've been watching you do this about as long as you've been doing it, basically, right? And I just said, I remember watching TV. I remember seeing you on the TV. I remember you coming there, and you looked just like the Riddler. Had the question marks, and he had the green suit and everything, and it was all money. And I love it. It's fantastic. I'm telling you, it's like talking to a comic book superhero. It's amazing. It's funny because I just last night I was just chatting with some. My buddies in Colorado. I was born and raised in Colorado. I'm in Kansas now. I've been here a little over a decade and really haven't seen any of my buddies, my best friends that I grew up with and went to school with here, in this last 10 years. And, so we're just on a chat thread from, the holidays and everybody wishing everybody happy holidays and happy new year and all that good stuff and chatting. And I asked, and I had to ask him, I said, hey, you guys remember that guy on the TV, that Matthew Lesko guy? And of the three of them, one of them remembered afterward, and then one of them never watched TV, so I guess it was excluded. But they just went, "You're crazy! You're gonna talk to that guy? That guy is amazing."
No, it was fun. It's a way to educate. When I really, I love making a fool out of myself. I think what it is, and I found
you always look like you were having fun, right?
Oh, man, absolutely. Yeah. This is, and after everything failed in my life. Yeah. Then I said, man, I'm going to start having fun because I was doing stuff I wasn't happy at and sort of being miserable because maybe someday I'm going to be happy. And there's no guarantee, but I'm following everybody else's rules and everything. And then maybe I'm going to, and after my first two things I wanted to do failed, I said, now this is nuts way to live this way.
What exactly happened?
Happy for businesses that failed. I had a computer software company that failed, and another business. I said,
and if you're talking about, sort of computer software,
exactly.
you must have been way ahead of it.
I guess that's why what it is. But thank God didn't fail. I didn't succeed because I'd be a mediocre company. Now,
fair enough, right?
Yeah. And so to find things that you're really built to do, that's when you start happy, because you're happy every day doing it. Whether you're like now, I would do this whether I make money or not. It's good to make money, and that's the key in life. You find something you love doing and make money, because then you could give the hardest. I really feel, and I'm older. At 50, I don't know if I thought this way, but at 80, I think the most selfish thing to do is to give, because that's what really grows, and you could keep growing. Like now at 80, at 50, I was still trying to get ribbed up or whatever, muscles and speed and brain power and all that shit guys do. But at 80, man, none of that going to get better ever again.
Fair enough. And you can kind of set your mind to resign to that fact. Yeah. There was a big story, and I keep passing over it. I keep seeing it pop up, though, and it just come up in the last couple of days. And it was something about the understanding of aging, and that there are two particular points in our life where we actually age, and the rest of the time we're just kind of, moseying along through life. And it's like 60 and 80 or something like that, when there are major, massive changes when you really start. I thought it was kind of interesting, but I hadn't had a chance to follow up on it yet. And I can't imagine I'll be alive in 30 years, but I can't imagine what my attitude about things would be like in 30 years from now. And I don't know if I'll be able to look back at 50 and go, hey, I was a different or the same person.
I'm not sure either, because parts of us are always there. Right. But the parts that you want to keep growing, that you're good at, I think that's the key. And one part I think if I can't get stronger, faster, smarter, I could love harder, and I could feel I could do that forever and get better at that. That's one muscle that you can keep getting better at, because none of the others are ever going to get better than what they are right now. It's just downhill, no matter what you do. You just slow down the slide. That's about it.
Not really any stopping it. But obviously it's different for other people, and it's different for every person. So my wife and I are here. The reason that we came to Topeka a little over a decade ago is because her parents are getting older. We're getting older. Right. Her mother has since passed, and her father is 74, 75, and he couldn't hold this conversation. It would be beyond him to be able to have a conversation of this speed and of this depth. And that's kind of a sad thing, because I've known him for 30 some odd years now, as long as I've known my wife, and he was a different person then, and there were more priorities and different priorities, and it's kind of, and I realize that it's on him. That a lot of who we are as we get older has got to be about who we were when we were younger, and it's something that you don't necessarily see it at the time, but as you get older, and you're around the individual, and you see them get older, and you see them struggle with things that they've never resolved in their life, it's pretty wild. It's a pretty interesting thing to see. And then to look at yourself, someone like yourself, who clearly you have no cognitive issues. You don't seem to have any physical issues. You seem to be up and about and still going around pretty well.
What'd you say? What?
Well, you seem to be doing really well, ultimately, both physically and mentally. Yeah.
That was a joke. Sorry.
I get you. Okay. I'm a little slow on the uptake sometimes, so imagine what it'll be like in 30 years. Did you have to take care of your parents or anybody older?
Yes, of the siblings, I mean, they were pretty self. They retired in Florida, and I'd be there, and lots. But they weren't. They were pretty self-sufficient. But I had to take care of all the stuff at the end. But that's what we are as a humanity. I mean, we're here to help each other. Yeah, and that's what I guess we have these other organizations that do in our society. Capitalism is part of it, but then there's the care for other people. It's sort of like if you have, if your house is on fire, okay, you don't use capitalism to help your buddy's house on fire. You don't go over there and say, well, yeah, I'd help you, Joe, but I want to check your credit card first. Yeah. You go and help Joe with his house, what the hell he's doing. Yeah. And that's what we have as a society, whatever kind of society it is. A part of that is that we help each other. Why do we have religions and nonprofits? And government supposedly does that too, where they only, everything from them, they don't charge. That's a different account. Everything you want in capitalism, they charge. So if you want capitalism to help you, you bring your credit card.
You have to come prepared to participate. Right. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who don't get the advantages for whatever reason, right. Whatever station in life they're born into, mental, physical abilities, disabilities, things that don't give them the opportunity. And that's what you're talking about here, right? It's here's these things, here's these ways, here's a potential way for you to overcome some lack of experience, lack of knowledge, lack of skill, whatever it is that can help you ultimately help. Because we're talking about capitalism here. I mean, the ultimate end of capitalism is that everybody's helping everybody. That's right. The idea, supposedly. But there's going to be a breakdown, and there's going to be a disconnect between people who have and the people who have not. And supposedly government's supposed to come in and fill that gap, right? Except the only problem with the government is that the government doesn't produce anything. It only transfers wealth from one place to another. So there's another disconnect about how you actually service people by taking from other people and giving to other people. Again, we're not going to go into all that the conversation, because that's not the important point, I don't think, in speaking with someone like yourself. You've been at this a long time. You've seen this from all these different angles, and you've been down on the ground talking with real people all this time. And so you know that there's that disconnect, and you've been working to fill it.
Yeah. No, definitely. And let me show you. Are you online now? Or yeah, I want to show you a website. Can you go on a website? I have a different.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to findhelp.org.
Findhelp.org. Not two L's, not two L's. .org, you said. Findhelp.org. Find free or reduced cost resources like food, housing, financial assistance, healthcare, and more. Start with your zip code.
Yeah, put your zip code in there. Well, yeah.
Let's see what it says. 2,062 programs in the Topeka, Kansas area. Choose from the categories above: food, housing, goods, transit, health, money, care, education, work, legal.
See, this is the
wild
giving society. This is not capitalism. Nothing in here is going to ask you for money.
Right. All
of these are organizations and government offices and nonprofit organizations that give you money. See, and you can't find them in Google, because Google's there to get money from you. They may be in there, but if you put in, say, maybe you need money to pay rent. If you go to Google and put rent grants, you'll get 2 billion websites.
Oh, sure.
Right. But here, look in that website you're just at, and up in the left-hand corner again, put rent.
Right, let's see here. Help pay for housing, internet, phone, utilities, housing, vouchers.
I know. First go in, there's a search up on the left-hand side.
Oh, and the little keyword thing again?
Yeah, right. Put in rent.
And type rent?
Right.
Let's see. Rent and utility support, Community Action Incorporated.
There should be a number of how many programs are there.
Where's the number? 56 pages, or is it 56 results? Approximately 56 of them, I believe. Yeah, it's not 56 pages, it's 56. Yeah, 56 total results. Yeah.
So that's 56 nonprofit organizations that have funding to help you pay rent. Just in your zip code.
That's crazy.
I know. That's right. Why do I? Let's go put another one. Back up a page. So you put in seniors. Let's see what you have to help your folks or your in-laws.
Seniors. 489 programs.
See, there's you and 489 other people trying to help your father-in-law.
Right? That's a great way to look at it, huh? Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Credit counseling services, critical care coordination, vision care.
Nothing will charge you money there. Remember that.
That's crazy. Online therapy, personal finance education, wandering support. Oh, for Alzheimer's, sure.
Right.
You don't want people wandering off. That's wild.
Right. Or another interesting, I didn't realize, back up again and put in car repair.
Car repair. Car repair. Let's see, 32 patient travel assistance, therapy travel assistant, urgent need program. Mobility is freedom. Mobility equipped vehicles for U.S. military veterans with amputations. Boy, that's specific, isn't it?
Right. See, they're all in the of helping. Your father-in-law live with you or separately?
No, he's here. We live in his home so that he can stay home.
Oh, okay. Back up and look for home repair.
Home repair. Home repair. Maintenance and repair.
So it's his home.
Repairs.
You may need help in financing to get him being able to get around the house a little better.
Free home repairs for low-income home owners with an emphasis on elderly or disabled veterans, of which he is both. And a lot of people are around here. Topeka, Kansas is very much a military town.
Uh-huh. See,
it's really cool.
It is. And I think, God, I mean, see, there's so much help for people.
It's crazy that there's just that much. I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this website to the links page there for the listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool.
And then you have to learn how to use these systems because they're different from Google. See, Google wants to get money from you, so they're going to kiss your ass.
Sure.
And so they're easy to deal with. They want to please you to get your money. These people get their money whether they help you or not. So it's a different, relationship you have to build with them. So you have to do the ass kissing. Because that's the only thing you have to make them motivated to help you more. I mean, don't forget, they could help you for free for 6 months or hang up on you after you say hello. You don't affect their paycheck. In Google, you affect their paycheck. So they're always going to be near to talk you into more money, right? So to get the help, that's why a lot of people will get on the phone and start calling people. And God damn you, lazy, shiftless bureaucrat, you better help me. My tax dollars pay your salary. They don't care about that. They're getting paid, not from you.
Well, yeah, that's it, right? My salary pays your salary. My taxes pay your salary, but not really.
Right, exactly.
Not really.
But the way you have power over these people is through your elected official. So many people, that's the way you do it. It is if you have trouble with any bureaucracy that doesn't help you, you call your elected official because they're the ones that really pay the salary. Every government agency has a special hotline from their representative. Because they vote on their budget. See? So if you call, your two senators, and if it's a federal program, you have two senators and a representative, call them up, complain about this government agency, he's not giving you what you want. They'll call. I mean, they have nothing better to do. Most of their staff is just to do that. Because if they get you that $10,000 grant to fix up your house or whatever, you vote for that son of a no matter what they do.
Yeah, sure.
Right. And that's how the system works. So you have to know the pressure points to do that. And also what we haven't taught people recently is how to use the phone to get help. Because that's so important. You can't go on internet and Google and get help. none of us understand it enough, particularly with government agencies and things like that. Oh, give me a link to an application to fill out. No, you're not. The hardest part is finding the right application, and you don't use Google to do that. You use the internet. You use people. You use the government offices that are in charge of helping you solve your problem. Like if you want to start a new business, what you do, you don't go looking for a business grant. You go to the offices that are set up in Topeka, Kansas. There are probably maybe 6 to 20 of them, of nonprofit organizations that do nothing but help you start a business. They help you find money. They help you get legal help. You get any problem you have in starting a business. They've already gotten paid, so they're not going to look money from you, but they help you find money. Many of them have money too to give to businesses, and they know the most problems. So you want to talk to those people to save yourself a lot of time, and not going in Google circles for a month, a year, or whatever the hell that may be. Talk to people they know off the top of their head, and you always talk more than one. You talk to 3, 4, 5. Everybody has different skills and knowledge and whatever, but they're all free, and it's going to save you, hours, days, months, years, by not using them.
Well, I imagine you go looking around on the internet to try to find some of those things. You're going to run into dead ends, and you're going to get frustrated.
And you can't understand what they really mean when they say
right.
something.
Well, you pick up the phone and you talk to somebody, and they've helped somebody fill out the application before.
Exactly.
They've talked to them. They've walked through the process before. The guy's been employed there for 20 years. He probably knows what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
that is something that we have lost the touch in. And, we were never very good at it to begin with. I think it's part of the problem. I know that I've had to do that over the years to adjust the way I speak to people over the phone, particularly when I'm looking for help from them, and particularly when they're not very helpful.
No, that's true. And it is, but they have the power in a way. And that's why it's being smart in a way, because it's easier to do that. When you get mad at somebody, it not only pisses them off, you're wasting your insides too.
Yeah. Well, you don't get anywhere with it, right? The guy now you're mad, he's mad, everybody's mad, nothing's getting done.
But it's easy to do. It's still easy for me to do, and I know that.
Yeah. It can happen so quickly. And why not? This is something that we talk about here on this show quite a bit, is just an underlying sort of depression that exists in our society, particularly in our Western society. There's a sort of underlying hopelessness and an underlying sadness that exists that it's a serious barrier to entry to just even getting up in the morning and getting your pants put on and getting yourself adjusted and going out and putting yourself out there into the world. It's become such a big issue over in my lifetime, for sure. I've always made it, and it blows my mind that there are people who don't, but I've always made it a point, no matter what I'm doing for the day, I get up and I get dressed. I go through the routine, I don't sit around in my underwear necessarily, or that sort of, even if I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
No, get dressed up for the show.
Oh, well, and you never know when the show's coming to town, right?
But I find, particularly, I dress like this all the time. I dress crazy every day, no matter what I'm doing, and it makes me happier. And particularly, people look at me and they smile. They don't know me or whatever, but it makes them smile. Man, I feel if I could do that by just being happy myself, that's sort of a great job to have.
Well, and it's a great barrier breaker, right? Exactly. You make somebody smile and they see you, and they come up to you and they lose all that inhibition, and they want to talk to you, and they want to open up to you, and they want to tell you the truth. They want to tell you how they succeed. They want to tell you how they're struggling. They want to, and I think that's something that's really neat about you, that you found that way to do that, and to be able to walk through life doing it.
It wasn't a group, seance or a consultants that told me to do that. This is from my inside, And that's what I feel it is. It's living inside out. We have so much inside of us that we keep. That is the best part of us. The things that are more natural is our best gift to the rest of society. And we all try to be like somebody else because somebody says that how to succeed, and you don't know any better. So I guess okay, try anything. Yeah?
Try anything once, right?
Yeah. Well, all that failed. I said, I'm going to start listening to me. At least I'll be having fun. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm having fun.
I'm having fun, and having fun it just attracts attention. It just attracts attention. People see it and they want to do it. They want to participate. What do you attribute how you are today to just that lifestyle of just that whole being kind of a comic book character and being able to bring those smiles to people's faces? You think that's helping you live so much longer?
Probably, when you talk about your father-in-law, and I know people like that too, in their 70s, and it's like over. And I grew up in the little coal mining town, and that's what you did. You retired and went and played golf in Florida for the rest of your life or something, which always sounds stupid to me. Why do you want to do something you're lousy at for the rest of your life? So find something can be good at, and for a long time, because you don't have to work in factories anymore. And so you can contribute forever. And something you enjoy doing. And I think, I have a purpose every day I get up. I just can't wait. If I could give somebody, here, I just got a note here from somebody. It's been an incredible 2 months for me and my family. Not only did we got laid off on Friday and had to move from our McMansion to take care of 2 adults with special needs. And then we had to move to a hotel at $700 a week. But now the doors are opening up due to Matthew and his staff. I received $500 from Lesko. I received a car from Habitat for Humanity. I received several months of rent from the state's ERAP program. Yes. Yeah. And then another one, Timothy says, "Hi, Tammy. I actually got my rent paid and a small check for living expenses. I'm trying for more. Thank you, Matthew, and effort." I mean, to get things like that, man, I got nothing better to do than try to get up in the morning. And just because they don't know some phone number, man, I didn't make up the phone number. It's not my money. I'm not doing it. It's there in our society that people can solve their problems, but they just don't know. And why I have to do this. I've been waiting for 50 years for the government to do this. I'm going to finally do it myself. So we have what I call a community of people that help other people. So we got about 12,000 people now that the people, it's not only me. That's why I said, I want to find out how to pay my rent for the rest of my life. And so I started a subscription doing that. But I said, I get enough. And it's only $20. And because I didn't want to charge much, I used to charge $2,000 or something.
No, it's good that you bring that up. Yeah. Now I saw that, and I think that's a legitimate thing. Having an entry point, a price point, an entry point, to be able to serve people and to help people. This is we were talking about capitalism. This is something that it can't be done for free. There are people out there that are doing these things for free, but they're not doing it for free. Right. They're getting the money from somebody. It's coming from somewhere. So at some point, there's money in there somewhere that's paying for some of these things. But I really liked your response to the question of why you charge for your service. And it's because ultimately there are too many people to help. Right. You can't help them all. Right. And without proper attention placed to the people who really need it and who are serious about getting it, right? I suppose the people get overlooked.
That's right. Well, and to feed myself, in a way.
Sure.
I didn't want to. I mean, I could when I was. How much should I charge for a group? And really, the lowest thing was $500. People, financial information is not price sensitive. But
Right.
I did people, if you could afford $500 a month or $5,000, whatever, they're the people that I didn't want to help. They don't need help.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to help persons who could barely get $20. They need this more. And you feel more worthy as a human, I think, if you're helping people that really need it. If helping people they don't need it, I don't know. It's nice because you get paid, and if you don't have a way to live, you do it. And I've done that in the past. But I'm so surprised. We are so profitable now. We give out 40% of our money back to members. Yeah, and
That's
so
amazing.
$70,000 every month we give in grants to members who need it. Yeah. And $500 or $1,000.
And this is the membership thing that you were talking about.
Right.
People can find this at Lesko.com, right?
No, LeskoHelp.com.
Leskohelp.com. Okay.
Right. And
I got to make sure to note that.
Yeah.
Just get that right.
LeskoHelp.com. And by the way, I got another one in a few minutes I got to do, or it's almost 1 o'clock. Okay.
Leskohelp.com. No, if you got just a couple minutes, if there's anything else you want to add, or
no, I showed you those websites. People don't have to, if you know findhelp.org, that's a good way to get going. And look for there first. They're all free. I'm going to charge you $20.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that. You said yourself, you're talking about building community.
Right. It's helping. We have 12,000 members. And right now, today, we have probably about 3 or 4 hours of people that are live on Zoom calls like this that you could join and ask live questions to people who already got this money. And that's available every day. Yeah. So just don't throw you to the wolves. There's people to ask real life questions from people who applied for the money. That's why I feel they're better than me, because I've been saying this 50 years. Yeah. You're coming in and learning for the first time what this is. And they just learned last week for the first time, and they're really excited to help you how to do that after they just got the money. Yeah. And that's why, I didn't plan on that happening. And that's why things happen if you try hard for long enough. And still there's no guarantee, but it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's a great pursuit. I've always enjoyed the idea, even coming from my own personal economic stance on what the government is and what its real value is. Again, this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is all happening around us in real time, and I don't see anybody stopping.
No.
The government from taking money from us anytime soon. So maybe just get in there and try to do the best with the money that they have. That's really the way I look at this whole thing, is that they can take the money and they can put it to, military assets and things like that and start wars, or you can apply for some of it and try to start a business in your neighborhood and improve your neighborhood.
Well, either way, it doesn't matter, no matter if you want to change that. But
right.
That's going to take a lot of work and time, and you can solve your problem easier.
Yes, you could solve your own problems easier than you could solve the problems of the United States government, over 200 years old and still kicking.
Okay.
I appreciate it, my friend.
My pleasure. Thanks for
Thank you so much. Take care, Matthew. We'll talk to you again soon, I hope.
We only got about 10 more years, so don't wait too long.
Yeah, you think? Are you adding it up?
I think about 10 or 12, yeah.
Well, I truly wish you the best. You're a great fellow, and I'm really glad I got a chance to chat with you. And keep up the good work, my friend.